Good morning. I was sitting out here on my BOS this morning, my bright orange swing, and I thought of all of you who follow me here on Facebook and on the blog. And I thought how most of the time you hear my voice through the written word, but I don't get to speak to most of you. I love meeting people in person and I love speaking to them. And somehow you were on my heart this morning with a special message. And so I just sat down with my coffee, of course, and I jotted down a few thoughts that I want to share with you this morning. So I'm a newbie at making videos. I hope that you can enjoy your little coffee time with me this morning out here on the swing. Yesterday morning, I went to the coffee shop with my husband and friends of ours and our boys, and I ran into two gentlemen who were having coffee together, and they have both just lost their wives. I asked the one who's an old friend of ours, I said, "How are you doing and how are the kids?" And he said this: "We are working through it." I thought about that this morning, and I was thinking about the 23rd Psalm and how David said, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil." The valley of the shadow of death is a very familiar place to me, and I'm sure that you know something about it too. For these two men that I saw yesterday, their valley right now is the death of their wives. For you, it may be something else. Whatever hard thing you are going through right now, that's your valley. And you feel up on your life the shadow of death, don't you? I was thinking about what it's like in that place, in that valley. And I just kind of pictured a canyon, a very narrow passage through a canyon with these steep rock walls rising up on either side. Rock, hard, very hard. And the passage is so narrow and so thin that there's not room for two people to walk beside each other. It is single file, and the walls are pressing against your shoulders. There's a great deal of pressure in that place. It's so uncomfortable. It's a rocky path beneath your feet, and everything just hurts. I just sort of picture a dark, recessed path that seems to be so far down in the earth that the sun can't even reach you. It's so dark. And in that place, you feel so forsaken and alone. The valley of the shadow of death. When you're in that place, you feel that shadow on your life, don't you? And it feels like death is the truest thing, that the death of your hopes and dreams, the death of anything good in your present or in your future. You feel that sentence of death upon you, and hope has fled. You feel despair, a lot of discouragement, and you're just sick at heart. A friend said something profound to me recently. She said, "The shadow of death is only a shadow. It can't really touch you. It passes over you." And so that fear that you feel, that the death of all that's good, the death of all of your hope, that fear is just a shadow. It's just a phantom. And there will be a time when the sun will come out and it will melt that shadow. I know, because I have been there. When you're walking through that tight, uncomfortable place, it is so narrow that only one person can walk through at a time. There is so much that gets sort of scraped off of you. That's how I look at it. Over the course of your life, you pick up so much baggage, so many hurts, so many diseases, so many dysfunctions, so many lies. And one gets piled on top of another, on top of another, on top of another, until the whole weight and burden is so heavy that you can scarcely move. It is not until you get into a tight, restricted place like the valley of the shadow of death that junk can get scraped off of you. It hurts like the dickens when it's being scraped and cut. But in the end, it's what will bring life. The only way to get through this is to go through it. And that's what I told our friend yesterday. You are going through it. And through means that you're not there to stay. Through means that there is an end to the valley that you're in. If you fight your valley, your hard thing, if you fight in that tight canyon passage, you get yourself lodged in really tight and hard. And it only prolongs your time in the valley under that shadow of death. I know because I've fought. So it's counterintuitive, but it isn't until you put your arms down and you let your walls down and you stop fighting this hard thing and you start just taking one feeble step at a time that you actually start moving through it. That is the hope for you. You are going through it. You are not there to stay. You are not going through it alone. That's what I told my friend yesterday. You are not going through it alone. You have a shepherd that is walking right in front of you. And all you have to do is just follow him. Follow his back. Follow him so closely that you bump into his back. Because he knows the way through the canyon and he knows how to lead you out. So that's my word for you today. The valley of the shadow of death is just a passage through to something much, much greater. He will lead you out into a spacious place because he delights in you. He is guiding your every step. So just keep walking. I love you. Take heart.